Christmas, car repairs, and vacations happen every single year. So why are we always surprised by the cost? Every December, millions of people panic and rely on high-interest credit cards to fund perfectly predictable events. This cycle of financial anxiety ends today. I will teach you the ultimate sinking fund strategy. Building targeted micro savings buckets so you can proactively neutralize massive expenses and never touch a credit card again. To completely transform how you handle your money, we first have to violently destroy a massive misconception about what constitutes a financial emergency. The reason most people are drowning in credit card debt is that they treat perfectly predictable, mathematically guaranteed events as if they were sudden natural disasters. Let us look at reality. Christmas happens on December 25th every single year. It has not changed its date in 2 millennia. Yet, every single November, millions of people act completely shocked that they have to buy gifts, and they plunge themselves into thousands of dollars of high-interest credit card debt. Your car has moving parts. Friction guarantees that the brake pads will wear out and the tires will lose their tread. Your state requires an annual vehicle registration fee. These are not emergencies. An emergency is a massive, sudden, completely unforeseeable catastrophe, such as losing your job or shattering your leg and needing immediate surgery. When you get hit with a $1,000 bill for new car tires and you drain your emergency fund to pay for it, you are actively stealing from your own survival net to cover up your terrible planning. You are leaving yourself totally exposed to a real disaster. Predictable expenses require a completely different financial weapon. You cannot rely on hope, and you absolutely cannot rely on Visa or MasterCard. You must build a proactive system that neutralizes these massive bills months before they even arrive in your mailbox. That weapon is called the sinking fund. So, what exactly is a sinking fund? The concept originally comes from corporate accounting, but when applied to personal finance, it is the absolute greatest stress reliever you will ever experience. Imagine you are walking down a path and suddenly a massive $1,200 boulder falls directly onto your chest. That boulder represents a massive annual bill, like your home insurance or a major car repair. When it hits you all at once, it crushes your monthly cash flow. You cannot breathe financially, so you reach for a credit card just to survive the impact. A sinking fund is a mechanism that takes that massive, terrifying boulder and mathematically smashes it into 12 tiny, completely harmless pebbles. Instead of waiting for the bill to arrive and panicking, you create a dedicated micro-savings bucket with one specific, highly targeted job. You sink a tiny, manageable amount of cash into this bucket every single month. You are essentially saving up for a known expense over a designated period of time. By the time the massive annual bill finally arrives in the mail, it is an absolute non-event. It causes zero stress. Your heart rate does not elevate. You simply look at the bill, open your specific sinking fund bucket, where the exact amount of cash is already sitting perfectly waiting for its deployment, and you pay it in full. You have successfully time traveled. You have used your past income to completely neutralize a future threat. This is the absolute core of proactive financial management. The beauty of this system is that it relies on completely objective, emotionless mathematics. To set up a sinking fund, you do not need to be an accountant. You only need a piece of paper and a basic calculator. Look at the mathematical formula displayed on this slide. It is incredibly simple. Total target cost divided by months remaining equals your monthly contribution. Let us break down a highly realistic example. Every year you receive a massive bill for your auto insurance premium. If you pay it all at once annually, the insurance company usually gives you a massive discount, so we want to pay it in full. Let us say that total target cost is $1,200. You look at the calendar and realize this bill is due in exactly 12 months. You take the target cost of $1,200 and you divide it by 12. The result is exactly $100. That $100 is your magic number. Moving forward, when you sit down at the beginning of the month to write out your budget, you treat that $100 as a strict, non-negotiable monthly bill. You transfer it into your auto insurance sinking fund bucket. You repeat this process for every single predictable expense in your life. If you want to take a $2,000 vacation in 10 months, you divide 2,000 by 10. That is $200 a month. The math is absolute. If you fund the math, the money will be there. There is absolutely no guesswork, and there is no scrambling to find cash at the last minute. At this exact point, a very dangerous confusion arises. People ask, wait, if I am saving all this money for these specific bills, isn't that just my emergency fund? Why do I need two different systems? You must draw an impenetrable firewall between these two concepts. A sinking fund and an emergency fund are fundamentally different tools designed for completely opposite scenarios. Mixing them together will result in total financial disaster. Your emergency fund is your absolute survival vault. It contains 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Its only purpose is to catch you if you lose your job or experience severe medical trauma. It is an insurance policy. You hope that you never, ever have to touch it. Sinking funds, on the other hand, are specifically designed to be spent. You are saving this money with the explicit intention of draining the account to zero. You are building the bucket just so you can completely empty it. If you lump everything together into one massive savings account, you will experience severe psychological friction. Let's say you have $20,000 in one giant account. Christmas arrives and you pull $1,000 out to buy gifts. You just took money out of your survival vault to buy a video game console. If you get fired in January, you are going to deeply regret that purchase. By completely separating your sinking funds from your emergency fund, you grant yourself the ultimate permission to spend. When you pull $1,000 out of your holiday sinking fund, you experience zero guilt. That money had one specific job from the very beginning. Meanwhile, your emergency fund remains perfectly intact. To fully appreciate why this simple math is so revolutionary, we need to address the fatal flaw of traditional budgeting. If you are currently using a standard monthly budget, you are already ahead of 90% of the population. However, standard budgeting has a massive built-in weakness: the 30-day blind spot. Traditional budgets reset to zero at the end of every single month. They are designed to operate strictly within a 30-day window. This system is incredibly efficient at handling static, recurring expenses. Rent is exactly the same every month. Your internet bill is the same every month. Your baseline grocery needs are relatively identical from month to month. But life does not happen in perfect 30-day cycles. Life happens on an erratic, annualized 365-day timeline. When you try to force a massive, irregular annual expense into a rigid 30-day budget, the entire system completely shatters. Let us say your take-home pay is $4,000 a month. Your rent, food, utilities, and basic savings consume $3,800, leaving you with $200 of free margin. What happens in August when you want to take a $2,000 family vacation? You physically cannot squeeze a $2,000 expense out of a $200 monthly margin. The 30-day budget collapses under the weight. You tell yourself, I'll just put the vacation on the credit card and pay it off next month. But next month brings its own expenses, and suddenly you are trapped in a cycle of revolving debt. Sinking funds act as a temporal bridge. They fix the 30-day blind spot by allowing you to take an annualized view of your life. You are effectively spreading the massive weight of a future month evenly across the entire calendar year. To build out your master system, we need to categorize your life. There are 5 distinct categories of sinking funds you must build. We will start with Category 1, fixed annual contracts. These are massive bills that arrive on an exact date, for an exact, legally non-negotiable amount. The most common examples include your annual auto insurance premiums, your homeowners association dues, term life insurance policies, local property taxes, and massive digital software subscriptions like Adobe or Amazon Prime. Many people ask, if my auto insurance offers a monthly payment plan, why do I need a sinking fund to pay it annually? The answer is efficiency and wealth preservation. Insurance companies and software corporations are highly intelligent. When they allow you to pay monthly, they almost always bake a hidden convenience fee or financing charge into that monthly payment. If your auto insurance is $1,200 a year, they will not charge you $100 a month. they will charge you $110 a month. Over the year, you end up paying $1,320 for a $1,200 policy. By using a sinking fund, you become your own bank. You save the $100 yourself in your own digital bucket. When the annual renewal arrives, you pay the massive lump sum in full. You completely avoid the corporation's hidden financing fees, effectively saving yourself 10 to 15% on the exact same service. You are mathematically weaponizing your cash flow to stop corporate leakage. Category 2 requires a slight psychological shift. This is inevitable wear and tear. Unlike Category 1, where the bill is a fixed known number, Category 2 involves expenses where the exact cost and the exact timing are slightly ambiguous, but the event itself is mathematically guaranteed to happen. If you own a car, the brake pads will grind down, the tires will lose their tread, the oil must be changed. Cars are complex machines made of exploding chemicals and moving parts. Friction guarantees mechanical wear. If you own a house, the HVAC system will eventually need a technician. Minor plumbing leaks will happen. Paint will chip. Because we do not have an exact invoice in advance, we must use educated estimates. Look at the data on this slide for what we call the capping strategy. Instead of dividing a specific bill by 12, you decide on a logical maximum cap for your maintenance bucket. For example, you might decide that an auto maintenance bucket of $2,000 makes you feel completely safe. You contribute $150 a month to this bucket until the balance reaches exactly $2,000. Once it hits the cap, you stop contributing. You take that monthly $150 and you redirect it towards your wealth-building investments. When you need new tires for $800, you pull the money from the bucket. The balance drops to $1,200. The next month, you simply resume your contributions until the bucket is full again. You have created an infinitely refilling shield against mechanical breakdown. Category 3 is where we combat the most dangerous form of spending, emotional spending. This category includes holidays and gifts. This bucket covers Christmas, Hanukkah, massive birthday parties, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and wedding anniversaries. The reason people destroy their finances in this category is purely emotional. We deeply love our family, and society tells us that the only way to prove that love is by purchasing lavish, expensive gifts. Because we feel immense guilt if we show up empty-handed, we swipe high-interest credit cards to buy social approval and familial love. This results in the classic holiday debt hangover, where you spend the entire months of January, February, and March desperately trying to pay off the interest from December. A sinking fund completely cures this toxic cycle. Here's the strategy. In January, you sit down and decide exactly how much you are willing to spend on Christmas this year. Let us say the number is $1,100. You divide that by 11 months, leaving December free, giving you $100 a month. By the time late November arrives, you have $1,100 in pure, liquid cash sitting in a dedicated bucket. You walk into the mall or log into an online store, and you spend that money with absolute joy, total freedom, and absolutely zero financial anxiety. You are literally just executing a mathematical plan you created a year ago. It completely removes the guilt from generosity. Category 4 proves that strict financial planning is not a prison designed to make you miserable. A zero-based budget and sinking funds are actually a permission slip to spend. Category 4 is lifestyle upgrades and guilt-free joy. This bucket is strictly for luxury and leisure. It includes your massive summer vacation, buying a brand new laptop, upgrading your smartphone, or purchasing high-end furniture. Let me state an absolute non-negotiable rule of personal finance. You never, ever finance a vacation. You do not use a credit card to pay for flights to a tropical resort, promising to pay it off over 6 months. Paying 20% interest on a memory is the ultimate form of financial self-sabotage. If you cannot pay cash for the trip before you leave, you mathematically cannot afford the trip. You stay home. But with a sinking fund, you can afford it. If you want a $3,000 vacation to Europe next summer, you create a vacation vault. You divide $3,000 by 10 months, and you save $300 a month. The psychological power of this is immense. When you finally board that airplane, you know that the flight, the hotel, and the food are completely paid for in physical cash. Your emergency fund is untouched. Your retirement investments are fully funded. You can order the expensive dinner at the resort without a shred of anxiety because every single dollar in that bucket has one specific job: to buy you joy. You have earned it. Have earned. The fifth category is designed to protect you from what I call the gotcha bills. These are the highly irregular, completely silent expenses that sneak up on you once a quarter or twice a year and completely ruin an otherwise perfectly planned monthly budget. If you pay your auto insurance every 6 months, that is a gotcha bill. If your city bills you for water and trash collection once a quarter instead of monthly, that is a gotcha bill. If you have to pay union dues or professional license renewals, those belong here. Most importantly, if you are a freelancer, an independent contractor, or a real estate agent, this category is your absolute lifeline. You must create a sinking fund for your quarterly estimated taxes. The government does not take taxes out of freelance checks automatically. If you spend that money, the IRS will completely destroy you. The absolute second an invoice clears, you must ruthlessly transfer 25 to 30% of that money directly into your tax sinking fund. Do not touch it. It is not your money. You are simply holding it for the government. For all other gotcha bills, remember this: corporations incentivize annual or semi-annual billing by offering massive discounts. Mathematically, you should always take the discount. You use a sinking fund to mathematically convert that massive, irregular hit back into a highly manageable, flat monthly expense. You get the discount without any of the cash flow destruction. Now we move from theory to intense practicality. The most common question at this stage is, where do I actually physically keep all this money? If I have 8 different sinking funds, do I need to go to my local bank and open 8 different checking accounts? Absolutely not. Doing that will result in a nightmare of minimum balance fees and administrative chaos. Furthermore, you should never keep thousands of dollars in physical cash envelopes in your house. That is highly dangerous, invites theft, and allows inflation to completely destroy your purchasing power. Look at the logistics diagram on this slide. The only correct answer is to use a modern, online, high-yield savings account, or HISA. Modern digital banks, such as Ally Bank, SoFi, or Capital One, have revolutionized this process. They offer a feature called buckets or vaults. Here's how it works. You open exactly one high-yield savings account. It has one routing number and one account number. But inside the mobile app, the software allows you to visually divide that massive pile of cash into separate, customized folders. You can literally name a folder Christmas Fund, another Car Repairs, and another Property Taxes. The bank pays you a massive 4 to 5% APY on the entire grand total of the account, fighting inflation effortlessly. But psychologically, when you log into the app, your money is perfectly partitioned. You never accidentally spend your property tax money on a vacation because it is visually locked inside its own digital bucket. Once you have defined your categories and opened your high-yield savings account, you must eliminate the weakest link in your entire financial system: human willpower. If you rely on your own discipline to manually transfer $500 into your sinking funds at the end of every month, you will fail. Life will get stressful, you will feel tired, and you will convince yourself to skip just 1 month to buy something you want. 1 month turns into 3 and the entire system collapses. To guarantee success, you must build an automation machine. You must completely remove yourself from the equation. Here is the exact protocol. First, calculate the grand total of all your monthly sinking fund contributions combined. Let's say it totals $400 a month. Next, log into your employer's HR or payroll portal online. Almost all modern companies allow you to set up a split direct deposit. You instruct your employer to take your primary paycheck and send exactly $400 directly to the routing number of your new high-yield savings account. The remaining balance of your paycheck goes into your standard checking account for your daily living expenses. This is the ultimate set and forget strategy. The money is legally intercepted before it ever touches your checking account. If you never physically see the money, your brain assumes you do not have it, and you will not be tempted to spend it. Your sinking funds will grow passively in the background of your life, automatically preparing you for every future bill. When you first implement this system, you're going to hit a mathematical wall called the transition phase. The formula of dividing a cost by 12 months only works perfectly if you start in January. But what if you are watching this video in September and you realize you need to fund Christmas? You cannot divide your Christmas budget by 12 because you only have 3 months left. This is where you must aggressively adjust the formula. The true formula is total cost divided by the remaining months. If your holiday budget is $900 and you only have October, November, and December left, you must divide 900 by 3. You have to aggressively sink $300 a month into that bucket. I will be completely honest with you. Year 1 of using sinking funds is going to feel painful. It will feel like you have absolutely no money because you are playing catch-up on multiple massive bills simultaneously on compressed timelines. You will have to temporarily slash your restaurant budget and cancel subscriptions just to force the math to work. But you must push through this transition phase. Because once you successfully navigate year 1, magic happens. On January 1st of year 2, the entire system resets. Suddenly, you have a full 12 months to save for next Christmas. That painful $300 monthly burden instantly drops to a perfectly manageable $75 a month. The friction completely disappears. At this exact point in the process, a very harsh reality sets in for many people. You might calculate all your annual expenses, run the division, and discover that you need $750 a month to fund your buckets. But when you look at your actual take-home pay, you only have $400 of free cash flow left over. People panic and say, "This system doesn't work. I don't have enough money to fund my sinking funds." Listen to me very carefully. The system is working perfectly. The system just acted as a massive financial X-ray, and it revealed a tumor. It proved to you mathematically that your current lifestyle is completely unsustainable. If you cannot afford to sequentially fund the sinking funds today, you mathematically cannot afford to pay the massive bills when they arrive in 6 months. When you face this cash flow deficit, you must execute financial triage. You must brutally prioritize where your limited $400 goes. Priority 1 goes to legal mandates. You must fully fund your property taxes and your auto insurance. If you fail to pay these, you lose your house or face legal consequences. Priority 2 goes to income maintenance. You must fund your car repair bucket because if your car breaks down, you cannot get to work and your income drops to 0. Priority 3 is discretionary spending. This is where the axe must fall. If you are out of money, the vacation bucket gets deleted. The massive Christmas budget gets slashed by 70%. It hurts your ego, but it saves your life. A sinking fund forces you to confront the mathematical reality of your lifestyle choices today, rather than discovering you are bankrupt at the airport check-in counter tomorrow. Implementing a comprehensive sinking fund strategy does something much deeper than just organizing your bank accounts. It completely destroys your dependency on the toxic credit card industry. For decades, massive megabanks have successfully brainwashed the public into believing that a high-limit credit card is a form of emergency protection. It is not protection. It is a financial trap designed to extract your future labor. People often justify keeping everything on credit cards by chasing reward points or airline miles. They say, "I'll just put the $3,000 car repair on my card to get the 1% cash back." But the banks know human psychology better than you do. They have multi-billion-dollar algorithms proving that when you get hit with a massive, irregular annual bill that you did not plan for, you will not be able to pay the full balance at the end of the month. The moment you carry that balance over, they slam you with 24% annual interest. You were trying to outsmart them for $30 in airline miles, and they just trapped you in a cycle of debt that will cost you hundreds of dollars in pure interest. When you operate a sinking fund system, the credit card becomes entirely obsolete as a survival tool. You do not need to borrow the bank's money because your money is already sitting in a bucket, fully funded and waiting for deployment. You transition from a desperate borrower to an absolute dictator of your own capital. You stop playing their rigged game entirely. Before we do our final master walkthrough, I must warn you about a psychological trap called co-mingling and mental accounting. If your online bank does not have the digital buckets feature we discussed earlier, all of your sinking funds will just pool together into one massive number on your screen. You will log in and see a flat balance of, let's say, $4,000. Many people attempt to do mental accounting. They say, okay, I have $4,000. I'll just remember in my head that $1,000 is for the car, $2,000 is for property taxes, and $1,000 is for Christmas. I guarantee you with 100% certainty, this will result in total financial failure. The human brain is terrible at tracking shifting, compounding digital numbers. What happens is that you will experience an overlap. You will see $4,000, you will feel incredibly rich, and you will buy a $1,500 laptop. In your mind, you thought you were using the Christmas money, but you accidentally dug into the property tax money. You double spent the same dollar because it had no defined boundary. If your bank does not separate the funds digitally, you must separate them manually. You must maintain a strict digital spreadsheet. Every time you deposit money or spend money, you must update the spreadsheet immediately. Every single dollar in that account must have a written, highly specific job description. Never rely on your memory to manage your wealth. Let us put all the theory together and build a master tracker right now, step by step. Look at the data matrix on the infographic. This is exactly what your spreadsheet or your banking app should look like. You list your categories vertically. Next to each category, you write the absolute target goal. Next to that, you write the exact number of months until the bill is due. Then, you divide the target by the months to reveal your non-negotiable monthly requirement. Row 1. Property tax. Target is $2,400. 12 months left. The requirement is $200 a month. Row 2. Christmas. Target is $1,200. 6 months left. The requirement is $200 a month. Row 3. Car maintenance. This is a variable fund, so we set a cap of $1,500. We decide to sink $100 a month until it hits the cap. Row 4. The summer trip. Target is $2,000. 10 months left. The requirement is $200 a month. Now we sum up the monthly requirement column. 200 plus 200 plus 100 plus 200. The grand total is $700. This is your magic number. You log into your primary checking account and you set up an automatic recurring digital transfer of exactly $700. You schedule it to trigger the exact day after your paycheck clears. The money is automatically extracted and perfectly distributed into your highest sinking funds while you sleep. You have successfully automated your financial safety. When you live without sinking funds, you are walking through a financial minefield, completely blindfolded. Every single month feels like a crisis. Every time the mail arrives or an email notification pops up, your heart rate spikes because you are terrified of what new bill is waiting for you. Implementing the sinking fund strategy completely removes the blindfold. It gives you a mathematical radar. You see the massive expenses coming from 12 months away, and you calmly neutralize them long before they ever reach your front door. There's no greater feeling of financial empowerment than receiving a massive, terrifying invoice for a car repair or a tax bill, smiling, and paying it completely in full with physical cash without breaking a sweat. It fundamentally changes how you experience life. You no longer rely on credit cards. You no longer pay massive interest rates to banks. You stop stressing over the holidays and you actually start enjoying them. Do the math tonight. Identify your predictable boulders. Break them down into tiny monthly pebbles. Automate your transfers and completely eliminate financial anxiety from your life forever.